Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about a new and different spin that you can put on your videos, your website, your blog posts. In fact, any communication that you have going out to your community, I want you to kind of put this new and different spin on it, okay? Now, here's why this is important. When you make these changes, these suggestions I'm going to talk about today, it'll help you build trust much faster. It'll repel way less people. It'll build more engagement. And ultimately, it'll have more people getting on the phone and wanting to call your practice. In essence, what we're going to be talking about today is how do we guide and begin to change people's beliefs? Now, this is really tricky. And often, me in the past, I've gone about it totally the wrong way. Now, in a moment, we'll talk more about beliefs, but before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about a story. In 1994, it was Holland Johnson and Colleen Seifert, I think that's how you say name. They ran a series of experiments to see just how open were people to having their beliefs actually changed. Here's what they did. In this experiment, subjects were given information about a toxic warehouse fire, okay? Now, the first bits of information they were told about is that the fire began near a closet. Inside that closet, there was thought that was old paint tins and kind of explosive gases, all those kind of things. So understandably, what the subjects assumed is that the fire and the toxic gases were coming from there. As the experiment progressed a little further, they were then told that the closet was actually empty. Now, even though they were told the closet was empty, there was no paints in it, that wasn't the beginning of the fire there too, when they were asked questions later on, they continued to come back and relate the closet and the paint tins and the gases inside there as being the cause to it. In essence, what they found is that people are really slow and unwilling to change their beliefs. Now, we are wanting to give people a new way to think about their health. We're wanting people to change their beliefs in around where they think health comes from, what they should be doing to stay healthy. Maybe we're wanting to change their beliefs in around the way they eat, move, think, you kind of name it from there too. We get super passionate about this. And in many ways, not only do we want people to change their beliefs, but sometimes we're likely to tell people that they've been doing things wrong. Now, you would be forgiven to be thinking that if I just came along and offered a better solution, that I would jump for it. In fact, this is what frustrated me for years. I had a new and different way for you to be thinking. I had a new belief system, all those kind of things. And I just knew that if you made these changes, everything would be better. But people didn't make these changes. And I'll tell you why. When we tell people that they've been doing things wrong, they've really only got one of two different options, okay? So now sometimes, let me take a step to the side. Sometimes we flat out and say, hey, listen, you've been doing it wrong. But sometimes the way we go about communicating, even if we don't say the words wrong, we insinuate that the way they've raised their family, the way they've looked after their health, their spine, the choices they've made in the past are wrong, and I'm right. Here's what happens. When we make people wrong, they've got one of two choices. The first choice, what they could say is they could say, oh my God, Angus, thank you so much. You are absolutely right. I'm wrong. I'm now going to follow your way. Doesn't happen all that much. The alternate they can do, and what most people do, is they'll push back. They'll go, Angus, that doesn't make sense at all. You must be wrong because God knows I'm not wrong. If we have a choice between making somebody else wrong and making ourselves wrong, most times what we're going to choose to do is make the other person wrong. Now, thankfully, what there is there's a little bit of a neurological twist. There's a hack that we can go about that stops people from putting up these walls when we're wanting them to change their behaviors and their belief systems. And the words are new and different. So instead of telling people that they've been looking after their health in the wrong way, what I want you to start to do in all of your content, your videos, across your website, all your communications, and of course, this should happen also with your communication one-on-one with your patients as well. Just as important then, if not more important, is to tell them, hey, there's a new and different way to go about it. So if your video might be, hey, a new way for you to manage back pain, or it might be, scientists discover a new protocol that helps to improve your immune system naturally. These types of titles are going to be much more likely to have somebody want to watch the video because our brain is literally primed for new. Like the neurologists, the neuroscientists tell us that we're primed for new. In fact, the reason it's primed for new is that when we talk about new, it stimulates part of the novelty centers inside of the brain. And the evolutionary biologists will tell us those novelty centers were really important because they helped us in the past find new mates, they helped us find new food. And when there was novelty going on in the brain, it was one of those things that possibly increased our likelihood of survival. So when your videos, when your communication, instead of making people wrong, starts to stimulate those novelty new centers inside of the brain there too, you've just opened up the door for somebody possibly beginning to change their belief systems. Okay, that's my message for today, okay? New and different. I want you to look across your website. I want you to think about the communications that you're having with your patients, and certainly in the content that you're sharing across your social media platforms, videos, those kind of things there too. Where are you making things, or where are you making people wrong? Now remember, you don't have to be using that word, but if your video is actually making it look like somebody's wrong, then again, what you're going to be doing is you're more likely to be repelling people than changing them. Instead, new and different. Folks, that's it for me today. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. See you back here real soon. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.